it's Limu. I'm really excited to talk to you today about manifestation. So today we're going to talk about how to know when you're truly manifesting something in an effortless, easy way as opposed to trying to force it. I think all of us are manifesting things all the time, but we're not always aware that we're doing it. I think one of the first times I can remember being aware that I had intended to have something happen and then manifested it was during the whole process of auditioning for and landing the spot in Clash of the Choirs. I remember when I was going through the audition process and thinking about it, I was very much not really thinking that I was going to get it. But somewhere along the way, and it may have partly been because my good friend Felicia kept saying, "Oh, this is yours. You should have this. This is so perfect for you." Somewhere along the way, I decided that I did want this. And at the same time, I had just recently read the book, The Secret. Probably maybe a month or two earlier, I had read the book, The Secret. So I was very conscious of the idea of law of attraction and the ability to manifest, and that thoughts create things, and that your story that you're telling determines the story that you're living. And so when I, despite all the obstacles that came up the day that I was going to audition, when I was in the room singing my audition song, feeling the resonance of my voice filling up the room and feeling the absolute joy and bliss of that moment of knowing that I was right where I was supposed to be, doing right what I was supposed to be doing, it hit me kind of all at once that I'm in it. I'm perfectly aligned with my intention and my purpose in this moment, and this is going to happen. It was almost like I had a vision of what it was going to feel like when it happened. And I knew that it was a foreshadowing kind of vision, not just an imaginary dream. And as I walked out of the building after auditioning, after nailing my audition, as I walked out of the building, it wasn't even the people who were saying, "Oh, great job, you did so great." It was that vision that I was carrying with me of what was coming next that had me in tears. I literally had tears rolling down my face, and I said out loud, to not anybody in particular but myself, "Oh my God, this is gonna happen." And there were several times during the course of that whole process that would happen, that I would audition for the solo, and then I would know as I was singing the song, I would see the vision, and this is going to happen. And that's when I first realized that manifestation was a real thing. So some of you may be wondering if I've ever tried to manifest something and it hasn't worked. And as I sit before you, a lovely size 18, I can tell you that I have had that happen more than once. And in that case, in the case of manifesting my perfect body, which I have been, I would say, actively trying to do since I was about 25, having varying degrees of success. But the idea that I have not been able to successfully manifest it and hold it, not that I haven't been able to successfully manifest it, because I have, but that I haven't been able to manifest it and hold it, for me, comes down to my beliefs. And I have been really working on that, especially this year, of not just believing that it's possible, but believing that it can be magical, which is very different. My experience of manifesting my spot in Clash of the Choirs was magical, was all the universe conspiring on my behalf to make that happen, seas parting, that type of feeling. And the same has happened in my success in my business, that magical things have happened to conspire to make that happen, which when I stop to think about it, lets me know that that's part of a larger purpose that is lining up, in addition to it being part of my intention, and that I'm not mired in limiting beliefs about that. However, with my health and fitness, my head has been filled with all of these beliefs and ideas and what I would say I have accepted as truths about how that can happen and what you have to do and how it has to feel. And all of those things, when they don't align with what I'm trying to manifest, results in resistance and ultimately block the manifestation of the thing. I would say that anytime we're manifesting on a soul level. Because one of the best ways that I heard it put was Esther Hicks in one of her sessions channeling Abraham, saying, as soon as we desire something, Source desires it too. And so what happens is, because Source is connected to all of universal energy, as soon as we desire something, Source sets about to lining things up to make it happen in the best way possible for all things considered, and lets us know what that is through our emotions. That's our guidance system. And so if we follow that guidance, if we follow the trail of our emotions, following where the joy is and where the excitement and the enthusiasm and all those emotions, and stay away from where we're feeling, negativity and sadness and desperation and frustration, if we follow the emotions, then we can find the path to the perfect manifestation of whatever it is in accordance with the soul. So the tricky part is that there's similarities between the negativity and the resistance that's associated with this is not the right way, best for all involved, and I don't believe I can have this. I don't believe I deserve this. I don't believe this is good. I don't believe that anybody can have this, which are limiting beliefs. Those are two different things. Knock on this door versus knock on this door is soul giving you guidance. Neither of those doors has anything behind them that's worth anything to me, and I shouldn't knock on any door, is limiting beliefs. So when we're following soul guidance, we can trust our emotions. If we have emotional charge around beliefs, which are basically, the way that I heard it put that I thought was the most powerful, was that a belief is just a chronic thought. It's just a thought that you've thought over and over and over again until it becomes part of your belief system. And so if our thoughts are guiding us, then our soul cannot guide us. So unless our thoughts and what the soul wants for us happen to be the same thing. But we need to be careful to make sure that we have cleaned up what's happening up here. And that's why it's part of the core transformation program to not just identify what we want, but to identify all those beliefs that we have and kind of separate out which are the ones that are serving us and helping us and working in concert with soul, and which are the ones that we can just let go of because they're not serving us anymore. Maybe they did once, but they're not anymore. And that's a critical part of the process of manifestation, is identifying and shedding the limiting beliefs that are not helping you in any way get to the manifestation of your desire. My process for manifestation very much aligns with the core transformation content. So if you hear what I say and it resonates with you, I encourage you to just go over to that part of the website, check it out, and you can learn to do this for yourself. So for me, it starts with the desire. It starts with, what is it that I want, that I either have and I want more of, or I don't have and I want in my life? And then what comes up as soon as I identify that I have that desire? And usually what comes up is excitement, enthusiasm, and or limiting beliefs. So this could look like, oh, I really want to learn how to surf. Oh, but I can't surf. I'm too fat. Right? So those two things come up right at the same time. And as soon as we see those limiting beliefs, we have to dig in there to say, is that true? Maybe I can do some research and say, what is the weight limit? And if it's not true, then maybe I can let it go and learn to surf or whatever it is that the desire is. But identifying what those limiting beliefs are, identifying whether they're actually true, and in most cases they're not, and then replacing them with new language, right? So watch your language. That whole piece of the transformation program is all about what's the story that you're telling? And does your language line up with the desire that you say you have for yourself, or does it expose a limiting belief? And does it line up with that limiting belief? In essence, ensuring that you're going to continue to tell the old story, which led to the old life. If you want the new life, which includes this dream, you need to come up with new language and a new story so that the universe can line up everything that's happening in your life to match what you say that you want. And then once I do that, once I come up with the language, I make sure that I have support in place, people that will, help me to check myself before I wreck myself. People that will help me to fix my language, that will help me to pivot to the positive. And then I come up with a plan. And the plan is basically, okay, so what am I going to do to make sure that I get to that dream? Because as they say in recovery, faith without works is dead. And a dream without a plan is just a dream. So for a dream to become a manifested desire, you need to have a plan to get from here to there. And so that's my action plan, which is what's the dream and what are the big steps that I need to take in order to get to the dream. So for surfing, I might research what the surf schools are, find out what the weight limit is, sign up for a class, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, the writing your next chapter technique is just a daily practice that I use to ongoing identify the desires, identify the limiting beliefs, pivot from limiting beliefs to a new story, and manifest. That's what I do. The process of manifesting something in your life can be deeply personal. And it can be deeply personal, not just because the dream that you have could be deeply personal, but also because the steps to get there, the beliefs about yourself that come up, the fears that may come up, all of those things could be scary, could be intimate, could be private. And you don't have to share the process of manifesting really with anybody but you and your support team if you want one and have one. And that's what the writing your next chapter technique is for and why it's really great, because you can do it all in journaling. That's what I did, actually. Like when I manifested my way out of corporate America in 2007 and 2008, I did share it with my support team, but most of the sharing was in journal form because I was nervous that, like, what if it doesn't manifest? And I've shared it with people. And it wasn't until I was experienced in this way of doing things for 6 or 7 years that I agreed to shine the camera on myself as a way to be a beacon and hopefully a source of inspiration for others to see that it works and to show how it can be done. But if you're nervous, if you're out there and you have a dream that you want to manifest and you're nervous, I suggest just go through the core transformation modules on your own and maybe just do the exercises at the end of each module. Don't shortchange yourself. Go through the whole thing and then give yourself a couple months of doing the writing your next chapter technique and see it for yourself. And you could even start with a dream that you have in an area that's maybe not so charged. Maybe you have a dream of just, maybe for you, getting a promotion is something that doesn't feel super personal or super intimate or super charged, that if it doesn't happen, you're going to be mortified or devastated. Or maybe for you, it's losing that last 10 or 15 pounds. Maybe that's something that for you is an achievable dream that you've just been putting off. And so maybe take that first step, for me, it was breaking out of corporate America. I didn't have a lot of limiting beliefs around that. And so it was easy for me to do it, and I could see immediately success in that area. That's been something that I've coached people to do that has been really, really effective, because in the core transformation program, I talk about breadcrumbs. And breadcrumbs are sort of like when Hansel and Gretel were trying to make their way out of the forest. The breadcrumbs, until the birds ate them, were what helped them to get out and find their way back home to their parents who wanted to put them back into the forest. But that's a whole nother story, and a flaw in that story, and not a flaw in the concept of breadcrumbs, because breadcrumbs do work. And in the context of the core transformation program, the way that they work is that when you're trying to manifest something, you look for the breadcrumbs for that thing. So if you're trying to manifest more money in your life and you're looking for breadcrumbs, you may find that you go into the pocket of a pair of pants that you haven't tried on in a while, and there's $40 in the back pocket. Oh, that's a breadcrumb, money's coming. Or you may find that a bill that you thought that you had to pay was a clerical error, and now you don't have to pay it. Or a client that you haven't heard from in 3 months suddenly called to seal the deal that you thought might not even happen. All of those things are breadcrumbs showing you that you're making your way out of the woods of limiting beliefs and lack of manifestation to the sunlight of learning how to manifest, learning how to use intention and the law of attraction to have the life that you want. You can find more information about the core transformation content and the Write Your Next Chapter technique by accessing the links below. I don't know who would write a story about parents sending their kids off to the woods to die, but whatever.